Welcome to your first roots video. We're looking at an, which means not without, unusual, or irregular. As we're going through this video, we're going to be talking about kind of what you should do on your roots page as we go. And since we're doing it in class, I may be pausing it sometimes to talk to you separately, okay? Generally, you'll do this completely on your own. Our first word is agnostic. It is a noun. It's important as you're doing roots to pay attention to what part of speech the words are because it affects how they're used. And when you're taking a quiz, it'll ask you to put the words in sentences. So knowing the part of speech can be super helpful. Right underneath the word you'll notice is, yes, it tells us a, not, nos to know, right? You need to highlight those roots. So grab your highlighter, highlight those right now. These are something that you'll see a lot of this year. You're going to be studying roots, and the roots from this quiz could show up on any quiz from now until the end of 8th grade. So highlight those and you'll need to study them. You'll also notice there's a definition. One who does not know whether there is a God. And you're going to take your pen or pencil and you're going to underline that definition. Okay? There's a box off to the right on your sheet as well, and that's a place for you to draw something or write something that will help you remember what this word means and how to use it. So for me, I'd use a question mark, right? Because agnostic is one who does not know. They question it still. They're not sure. So a question mark might help me remember. I also want you to notice there's a sentence there. So you'll see, the agnostic admitted he was still searching for the truth. That sentence is a great example, and I will tell you every once in a while you'll luck out and the sentence from your roots sheet could show up on your quiz. So always make sure you're reading those and paying close attention to them. Your next word is anarchy. It is also a noun. It has two roots, an meaning without and arch meaning ruler. Mark those, so you're going to highlight those always. The definition is political disorder and confusion. You'll notice I have a couple cartoons here because when we look at the roots, without a ruler is what makes sense, right? Which was the initial meaning of anarchy. So you'll see here we have a ruler being sent away. It's not a real ruler. See what I did there? That's not the anarchy we're talking about. We're also not talking about kind of the political movement of anarchy, the idea that we don't need government, That's not what we're discussing. What we mean is what we're seeing in some countries in the world right now, where there's a lot of political disorder, a lot of confusion, a lot of unrest, and things just aren't really settled at the moment. That's the kind of anarchy we're talking about. Again, there's always a sentence, so you'll notice our sentence here. The kingdom revolted and anarchy reigned over the land. And there should be a comma in that sentence, so if you would add it, that would be super helpful. That is 2 independent clauses. Next word, anecdote. That is a noun. If we pull up our roots here, so an meaning not, and anecdotos meaning given out. And when we read the definition, you're going to be a little confused, but don't worry, we're going to talk about that. Highlight your roots for me, and then let's grab our pen or pencil. An anecdote is a short account of some interesting or humorous incident. And when we look at these roots, you're like, but the roots say not given out. That's because anecdotes were originally stories that were not published or shared. So the definition has changed pretty drastically. So now these are stories that we do share, right? Pop this back out of the way. So a couple different things to look at. So here we have a couple of guys on a hike, and one says, well, there was this one crazy time my dad got bit by a snake. And the other guy who is laying on the ground and has a snake bite, no, you fool, I said I needed an antidote. So the guy in the blue shirt has misunderstood the man with the snake bite and thought he asked for an anecdote, which he did not. He asked for an antidote. Anecdote, not very helpful in this situation. Our other cartoon is 2 chickens in an elevator. And one says, don't you just love the inherent mystery of elevators? You go in, and when the doors open, you never know what's going to be on the other side. So it says hobby for the lonely, advanced elevator, small talk. This guy might have a great anecdote later. He's going to have a pretty interesting or humorous incident to tell his friends about, like, I got in this elevator and there was this chicken there. And he started talking about elevators and I was kind of uncomfortable. So, that would be his anecdote. Anemia, noun. Highlight your roots. An means without, and hem means blood. So, without blood. Now, someone who has anemia is not actually lacking all of their blood. So let's underline the actual meaning. A deficiency of red blood cells. Right, so they're missing certain parts of their blood. So if you look, this is what normal blood looks like. And this is what anemic blood looks like. Look at the difference in the number of red blood cells. It's huge, right? And our sentence is, the young girl suffered from anemia and often felt tired. Now we are on to anesthetic, which is an adjective. It has the roots an meaning without and aesthet meaning feeling. Highlight those, they're very important. We're going to underline our meaning. A drug causing one to be insensitive to pain. Now I want you to look at something here. It says a drug causing one to be insensitive to pain. That sounds a lot like a noun to me. So I want you to keep in mind that while this does say adjective, an anesthetic the word anesthetic can be used as a noun or an adjective. You could say like an anesthetic drug or an anesthetic medication, but it can also be used as a noun. It has two jobs. You might add that in your little book, please. The way that we have our sentence written is used as a noun. An anesthetic often helps doctors perform difficult procedures on patients. And you will see here we have a lady who's at the dentist maybe and is about to have something terribly painful done. Now she is asleep. Something interesting to note would be that an anesthetic can also be something that just numbs part of you. So a local anesthetic would numb maybe like your gums or something else, but wouldn't put you to sleep. Look at all the fun things you're learning with your roots. And on to anomaly. Anomaly is a noun. That is the only way it's used, is as a noun. Its roots are an meaning not and homo meaning same. You've probably heard that root homo before in words like homonym or homophone. You probably know about homophones, meaning, same. Homophone means sound, so words with the same sound. An anomaly is a rare exception that is not normal, i.e. not the same, right? Our examples here are, for instance, a flower growing in a snowstorm, right? Or perhaps an albino lion. See my little albino lion here? One without any pigmentation. Or a bird that cannot fly. So Darwin has a quote about the greatest anomaly being birds that can't fly or something. And penguins cannot fly unless you count how they fly through the water. Don't think that was what Darwin was talking about, though. So, an anomaly is a rare exception to something that is not normal. And our sentence is, there is no greater anomaly than a normal teacher. I think that's probably kind of true. We could be weird. Then we have anonymous. Highlight your roots. An meaning without and ona meaning name. It is an adjective, and it means having an unknown or anonymous name. My favorite example of this has to be from Gossip Girl, because you have two different girls in the same, very similar outfits, and wearing the same mask, and they both have blonde hair, and so this guy thinks they're the same person, but they're not. They're anonymous in their masquerade masks, right? And their matching dresses. He can't tell them apart. He doesn't know who they are, really. He thinks he does, but he's wrong. You can also have, like, an anonymous quote. You've probably heard of that. So in that case, you have a quotation, but no one knows who said it or where it came from, or the person chooses not to tell. Our sentence. She preferred to remain anonymous to protect her privacy. Very important. Asymmetrical. Oh, this has three roots. What? Make sure you highlight all of them. So you have a meaning not, sim meaning together, and meter meaning measure. So if we're going to break this down really literally, it means like not measured together, not the same length. It is an adjective, so that's how we use it. And let's underline our meaning. Not having both sides exactly like, not symmetrical. So we have this skirt here, right? And it's short on one side and long on the other. It's an asymmetrical skirt, right? But then we also have, do you guys know who this is, perhaps? Chuck Norris? Kind of cool guy, right? Yeah, for a while he had some asymmetrical hair. He had a mullet. And if you're not familiar with the mullet is asymmetrical because it is short in the front and long in the back. So, some serious asymmetrical hair right there. All right, atheist. So we heard about this at the beginning as well. It's easy to confuse with agnostic unless you know the roots, and then it's easy to figure out because atheist has the roots a meaning without and the meaning God. So an atheist is without a God. Literally, without a God. That's the definition. One who is without a God. One who denies the existence of God. So, I think about it like this to help me remember. So we've got like different religions of the world, and an atheist doesn't subscribe to any of them. Right? They're just like, nope, not for me. Okay?